All right, my friends, welcome to episode 223 of Prof and Dev Play Games. My name is Larry the Professor at Prof Plays Games on Twitter, and over there is Anthony the Dev at SummerSpeak on Twitter. And tonight, man, I am sweating my fantasy football finals. I am finally at the promised land, and I made some dumb decisions that I seem to be about to weather and make some fucking money and stop talking about fantasy football in this podcast for the next year.
So, how many more games do you have?
No, this is it.
This is it?
Yeah, tomorrow night's
they have
game. We each have one
there's a Monday
player.
night, right? Yeah.
I almost said character, but they're players, but they feel like characters. Oh, man, what a season. My wife is so excited for me to be fucking done talking about fantasy football. How have you been? How's your weekend?
Weekend is fine. A little sick, but recovered, took some rest, and then went out, saw a Star Wars today.
And just high-level thoughts?
Let's just let it lie.
Okay.
Not really. This is the first movie I want to completely stricken from my headcanon. Maybe it just didn't happen. I think it's okay if it just didn't happen. I'm one of the people. I am not generally okay with this movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed myself enough while sitting there. It's generally, I'm like, it's fine as long as you don't think too hard about it. As soon as you start thinking about any scene, anything that's happening, it all just unravels, and it just made me sad.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things I actually was talking to my wife about a little bit. And, I mean, I've watched a ton of dumb movies in my life that I love, and it's cool, and I'm just like, I'll sit there and watch. But there's something when it happens when I'm watching it and I'm constantly going like, that doesn't seem right. That's odd. Like I'm being constantly pulled back out of the film by decisions that it's making. Constantly. I can't get into the movie because every few minutes there's something that just pulls me out of the film, and completely destroys my sense of belief. So yeah. I was not a big fan of this one at all. It's well made, like visually and everything. It's just a lot of movie that doesn't really gel all that well for me. Yeah.
So I'm looking very forward to going and seeing it in the theaters.
I'm sure you might like it. You might be able to just be like, because you have no, your brain won't be going nitpicking all these little things that you're like, that's not possible. Why is that happening?
Right. I can just turn it all off and just have this fun summer schlocky movie in the winter.
It is very schlocky. Although I personally hated how it was edited together. It felt really, really frantic and fast. Because they're trying to cram so much in so fast. You never got scenes that were able to breathe. Mm-hmm. Even in moments you're like, I think I would have liked to have stayed in that scene for another 30 seconds to really understand what's going on or feel the emotions from it. No, we got to cut something new faster.
Right.
So that's what I mean by a lot of movie. It was just like, it wouldn't stop, and I just felt like my emotions were constantly just being undercutted because I just could not catch up with what was being shown to me.
I just have to go to the theater because otherwise it'll be like The Last Jedi where it took me 1 year to get through it.
Yeah. So you just got to sit and just watch through it. I will say there were some claps and there were cheers and different things in the theater, but one major final moment when you're supposed to be feeling really serious and everything, there was a lot of audible laughs.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was not a good sign.
Like they weren't supposed to be laughing at that point.
That was not a laughing point. That was not a laughing point. That was supposed to be like a very serious, very oh no point, and everyone was laughing. Or a good chunk of people were laughing.
Not good.
No, I'm like, uh-oh. This is not how you want it to end.
Right.
So yeah, that was my little adventure today, but it's fine. There's a lot of Star Wars I do like. The Mandalorian TV show is fantastic. Mm-hmm. I think you would probably enjoy that quite a bit.
I'm looking forward to when I finally get Disney Plus to watch that, because people talk so many good things about it.
It's tropey, but it wears its tropes on its sleeve, being like, hey, I'm a space western. I really am just straight up a space western.
Right.
Deal with it. Like, if you're not trying to be more than that, so you'll get some heavy spaghetti Western tropes going on there, some samurai stuff, but...
And that's concluded, right?
The last episode is next Friday.
Oh, next Friday, okay.
Yeah. It's interesting with the streaming service that's doing it weekly, not binge dropping it. But it works out. It works out really well. Because people talk about the show week to week.
Right, you kind of keep the momentum. Like Nintendo spaces out their shit, right? So you're talking about Nintendo all throughout the year. So
yeah.
It makes sense. As, The Witcher, which we're going to spend most of our episode talking about tonight, just all out. All 8 episodes are out now. So it's just like this quick binge. So might as well say, this is going to be the Witcher episode. We are going to be talking about, there is a couple of pieces of Witcher news, and obviously the Witcher TV series dropped. I've only seen the first episode. Anthony's seen a few. We're going to talk about
I finished
Witcher.
4.
Nice, okay.
So finished halfway through. Yeah.
Right. And then we will talk about what we have been playing. This might be a shorter episode, because next week we're going to dig into our games of the year. So that will be a fun one. And then we'll wrap up the year there. So before we start talking about the series, I want to read this piece of news from PC Gamer that you may have heard about. The headline here is CD Projekt has a new deal with The Witcher creator Andrzej Sapkowski. It's a happy ending for everybody. I'm going to read a couple graphs here. Let's see here. So The Witcher is a pretty big deal in Poland since 2007 when CD Projekt released their first game. And famously, Sapkowski licensed the property for an upfront sum instead of a percentage deal because he thought video games were dumb and they weren't going to add up to anything. But then it made about made a ton of money, and Sapkowski asked for $16 million, and CD Projekt said, no, thanks. That was in February, but then they've been working on the deal since then, and Sapkowski and CD Projekt have signed an agreement for further solidifying their relationship, which basically gave him money less than the $16 million he wanted, but more than CD Projekt would have given him, that needed to give him, basically. And then also gives them rights for the future for other things.
And I assume royalties, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, if he's smart, hopefully.
At this point, he'll be like, hey, I want a percentage.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty cool. That's something we've talked about a lot on this show. Where Sapkowski kind of fucked himself because he didn't understand the industry. And this is such a huge inspiration. I mean, that's putting it lightly for the fucking games. So it's good to see him getting paid, but he's obviously going to get paid too for the Witcher series.
Yes.
And before you dig in, because I think I want to hear a lot of what you want to say about this, because you've seen more than I have. I do want to read 2 paragraphs again from PC Gamer about the series. I want to get your comments on this.
Okay.
So they say, here's the headline. You can relax. Netflix's Witcher series kicks ass. The Witcher TV series is not Game of Thrones. There are too many oversaturated scenes and folktale monsters. It is not Lord of the Rings. There's too much pointless death with 0 lessons learned. It's not quite the books or the games it pulls from either, but somewhere in between. The first season of The Witcher show is an original interpretation of Sapkowski's fantasy epic with a massive Netflix budget, and it's not just a great adaptation, it's one of the best shows I've seen this year. The Witcher is horrifying at times, cute and sweet at others. It's funny with restrained comic timing. It's horny, like a lot. It's framed by a disorienting and complex political conflict swirling in a massive cauldron of noun soup, but it's all grounded by Geralt's monster hunting day job. Almost an anthology, we follow Geralt between villages and castles as he takes on dirty jobs for dirty people from every class and background. End quote. That about sum it up for you? Yeah,
I mean, it touches on a few things there. It is definitely 4 episodes in, especially episodes. I liked episodes 3 and 4 quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it continuously gets better. Like I think you were sold much more on episode 1 than I was.
I especially the first half.
No, I really didn't like it. Really, I was like, this is
love the first half.
Fucking word bullshit, don't give a damn. Like, I was sold on Cavill's presence as Geralt. I was like, cool, you're holding it.
Yep.
But I wasn't sold on the writing. I was like, this is just a lot of fantasy bullshit. Like, I don't know. It felt very cliche to me.
I loved the writing because it felt very much like they could have... I think there's a lot of fidelity to the source material, and I feel like they could have really gone heavy-handed with, like, just, tons of exposition and dumping backstory, which they didn't do. There was one scene that kind of stood out where Geralt's talking to Roach, and then Regis, what's her name? Refus, Regis, the main antagonist, I guess, quote unquote. Maybe not.
And I'm still trying to figure out that character a little bit.
Like, what the hell was she?
That was the part where I was like, okay, you're throwing away. Like, all right. So my main things with The Witcher is I never beat Witchers 1 or 2. I beat 3. I've read The Last Wish, but that was a while ago. Before Witcher 3. I don't feel like I'm, like, super versed in the world. So you probably ask me questions about, the greater story of The Witcher outside of Witcher 3. I'd be like, I don't know. Some stuff happened. I don't know. That was mentioned in a cutscene maybe at one point.
Right.
So the beginning to me, I was like, I know that this moon thing they're talking about has to do with, like, the monsters. That's about it.
Yep.
And that's where I was like, I'm pretty sure a person that hasn't played any of the game would be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, it was also still a little vague for me, and I was really trying to, like, piece it together, and I feel like I need to re-watch it, because I think the answer is in it, but maybe it's not. Because
I don't think it is the thing. I think it's taking a few more episodes where they start going into the layering in more of the stuff. I'm starting to piece together the world a little bit more.
But do they dig into the women in the tower?
A little bit. Like, that's coming back in. But that character's name, what was her name? No, Regis is the vampire
Regis
dude.
Philbin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who
is also a vampire. Fuck.
Episode 1, Blaviken... Renfrey,
that's it. Thank you.
And there's... I don't want to spoil anything for you. Like, no, she is very much in that episode. Whatever happens there is happening. It's just her connection to Geralt is much... It plays... it's brought back lit in a few more episodes, and I never got from that episode that she was so meaningful.
No, I don't either. And that's...
and she's meaningful. Like, clearly she's meaningful in some way, and I don't understand why. And this episode did not do a good job of making me feel like, oh, Geralt, like, really finds her very meaningful.
Oh, no. It does. That didn't stick out to me at all.
Yeah, well, we're supposed to feel that way.
Well, shit. Okay, well, that failed in that regard. The other thing about... I guess the one thing that felt tropey and really kind of just fantasy bullshit to me that was a little annoying, and I wish they had done it differently, was Ciri is your destiny. Geralt is your destiny. Find the girl in the forest. She's your destiny. It's like, fuck me, man. Could this have been done a little bit less heavy-handed?
You say that now, and it is very heavy-handed. And then you get a few more episodes in, and they're not bullshitting about destiny, I guess. I haven't read enough of the books. How many of the books have you read?
3.
Is destiny a true concept in there? Beyond like a vague concept, but like a force.
Yes.
So yeah, that's coming up, and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. This heavy-handed bit of destiny is actually like a thing.
Well, that's the thing that was interesting about the PC Gamer article. It's like it's between the books and the games, and I'm having a hard time parsing these things out in terms of not the cadence, but like the richness of the story. Like this whole first episode, like his main sobriquet is fucking the Butcher of Blaviken, and we just fucking see him as the Butcher of Blaviken, and it's just like this, big call out to like both the books and the game, and it's just such when that slaughter ends and he tells the sorcerer, "Don't touch her." You think it's like this big heroic moment, but it's fucking nothing. Yeah. The sorcerer turns the city on Geralt, and he's basically stoned and walks out of the city. And it's just like, this is meaningless. It's like almost nihilistic. That is to me The Witcher.
Yeah, no, that hit it. That's why I like the second half quite a bit. Like,
right.
It was willing to uphold that feeling of being like, yep.
Well, it's like in the fucking side quest when you do something wrong and you just like you live with the consequences of the shitty decision you made, and you don't get anything good out of it. It just felt like the consequence of a shitty video game quest decision, which is what half the stories in the Sapkowski novels feel like too.
Yeah, and I will say, like, there's a certain going through it in that PC Gamer article. there's a weirdness to the fact that, honestly, as through the first four episodes, I would actually say Geralt is not the main character.
Is Ciri the main character?
Ciri and Yen.
Yeah. Okay.
They feel like they both get more... Like, Geralt's doing his Witcher thing. Like, he's a Witcher, he's hunting monsters, but the actual crux of the story, and who you're following for, like, the big story, is Ciri and Yen. And it's really weird that the show is so female-centric that way, but is so through the male gaze.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the camera is totally the male gaze.
Oh, absolutely. In the first scene,
but the show isn't about the male character a lot. Right. I mean, he's around and he's doing his thing, but Geralt's not really... You're like, oh, you're not the one... You're kind of along for the ride. You're not the main thrust of the story and why things are happening.
I feel like that's true in the games and the novel, where he's in a fucking ocean being bandied about, all these forces around him. And he's just trying to, like, survive and do his thing. And
it's just the weirdness that the camera is so male gaze heavy, though, for such a female centric show.
What was that in that when he goes to see the sorcerer in the tower? It's like I was in bed with my wife, and all of a sudden it's just like fucking titties everywhere. I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, oh, I see what's happening.
It's The Witcher.
Yeah. So there's a female showrunner, so that gives some legitimacy, I guess.
Yeah.
But at the same time.
I mean, I'm fine with it. It was just sometimes, yeah.
Oh, I was very fine with it.
Yeah, it's just one of those weird, as I've watched more of it, it's like, huh, okay. I think the next episode you get to meet, whatever Dandelion's actual name is.
What is his actual name?
So, I mean, in the, Julian Alfred Pankratz.
Right.
Is
Matthew Mercer playing him in something?
I don't know.
You sent me some role-playing. They're role-playing The Witcher, and it's Cockle and Mercer.
Oh, yeah. He played it. He played Dandelion in, like, an RPG, actual play stream game.
Yeah, that was it. Okay. Anyway.
But the better known as Jaskier is, I guess, what the books call him. Yeah,
I don't remember that name.
Yeah. But he's in it, and he's awesome.
Awesome. Joey Beatty is the actor, it looks like.
Yeah, it's really good, and, I mean, he's a bard. They actually make him a straight-up bard, and it's great.
I can't wait to see Triss. Oh, no.
Triss book is very different from Triss game.
Yeah, that's true.
And you'll hit it, and I'm like, because I've seen people complaining online, and I did hit the episode where Triss is introduced. And I was like, oh, that's Triss? And then I had to look it up and read online. I'm like, oh, the character matches her book description quite a bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's based on the book, so that makes sense.
And it's not like the game. I'm like, oh, weird. The game character isn't really look at all like what I would expect from the book description. Mm-hmm. Not a fiery redhead. The book has her more of a, I think, like a chestnut brown, not red, like really stark red.
Yeah.
So... I don't know. It was weird. I was like, oh, there's Triss. Okay.
I read chestnut as brown with, like, hints of red.
Yeah, and that's what the show goes with.
Yeah, that's fine.
But that's not what the games went with.
No. She was very much a redhead.
Yeah. So that was interesting. Like, I think that was she's introduced in one of the first 4 episodes. Mm-hmm. I can't remember it, because I kind of binging it all blurs together.
Yeah.
And they're cutting between the different characters. So...
That's kind of why I want to go slowly, and honestly, I'm probably going to rewatch episode 1 before I move on to episode 2. I want to fucking, like, suck the marrow out of this show.
Yeah.
But man, we haven't even really hit on it too much yet, but fucking Henry Cavill fucking nails it, dude.
He really does. Like...
I couldn't believe it, dude. I don't see Superman. I don't... Nope. Something about, like, the match of the skin to the hair doesn't quite mix... It feels like a dye job or a wig job or whatever, but he does all his own stunts. He's just fucking all the fucking fighting. His voice, I'm so thankful that it's a different take on the Cockle voice, but it's really similar to the Cockle voice.
Yeah. I mean, he's talked about being such a huge game fan.
Yeah.
And there's interviews recently that I think before the show dropped, probably last week, that he was giving and saying that, like, that he loved the games, and if the show didn't live up to fans of the games as well, he would be disappointed.
Right.
Like, because he would disappoint himself. So it's pretty clear that he's basing his Geralt off of the Geralt of the games too. Like,
oh yeah, he talked about at Comic-Con. He's like how much he played and replayed Witcher 3, and just fucking begged them to give him this job, and like went out and auditioned and like tracked them down, and he just wanted to bring life to that character. Like, he had such reverence for it that it's very clear to see.
And it shows. Did you see I think there was a tweet going around today, the costumer for the show said that they had to keep replacing Cavill's leathers and stuff because his muscles would wear it out. Which I'm like, oh, dude.
That's fucking awesome. Oh, man. I thought you were going to say replace his cod piece.
Yeah, there you go.
Wearing it out. He's a fucking stud, man. And like the fight scene in the first episode, in basically when the butchery happens in Blaviken, was just fucking awesome. I think I just read it was all one long shot.
It looked like it.
Yeah. He just, even the tone, like, it feels like game Geralt, you know?
Yeah.
Even though it's obviously book Geralt.
Yeah, he's definitely bridging. That's where that article, he's definitely the one doing a lot of work to bridge the gap between the two. And there is a point where they do reference his two swords.
The one that's on the horse and the one that's on his back.
I haven't paid attention if it's on the horse or not. But there is a scene where he has them both. They're not both on his back, but he's carrying them on his in a sheath on his in his hands, both swords. And they reference him having two swords, the whole thing. So I'm like, okay, people, chill out. Like, he has them. He uses the right sword for doing the right thing. They reference using silver for monsters at times.
I love when that first thing happened, which I had not even caught, having done the games first to the books. Like, he doesn't have them strapped on his back in the books. He has one, and then the other one's on his horse.
Yeah, he takes what he needs. He takes the things he actually needs for the hunt that he's doing. Right. I'm glad we have Roach in there, and I love that he talks to Roach.
Yeah. That's the part where the exposition, like the story dump happened, where he was talking to Roach before, I forgot her name again, shows up before they basically do it. Renfrey, yeah. And it's kind of like an info dump, but like really well done, where it's just not, but it absolutely is. And I really liked that there was a lot of subtle writing, but now that I'm talking through it more with you, there are some things that were a little too subtle.
Yeah, I think that was just more. I think for people, like, if I'm missing it, I know that I could show this to people who haven't played the game or read any of the books, and they'd be like, what? Which is fine. They'll learn, and hopefully they'll stick around. And it's got a second season coming, so I'm curious where this one ends and what they'll do, knowing they get another 8 episodes.
Yeah, because they did a second season, like basically before the season even launched, right?
Yeah, they committed. Netflix is committed, and they've started, I think, writing it at this point. Yeah, I think I had an interview with, because the showrunner, who is she? Lauren Hirsch. Lauren Schmidt, Hizrick. She said that, like, they're in the middle of writing season 2, in the writer's room and just going through it, but saying they're having a much easier time now. Like, they've had already one season to figure out the show, and so it's a lot easier to write the second season. Knowing the cast and the character, like really knowing the characters now. I'm really enjoying it though. Overall, I think, like,
sorry, go ahead.
Cavill is great.
I think Ciri, from what I've seen of Ciri, is also great, but I don't know if she gets better or worse. But
no, she's great. You haven't met Yen yet, and Yen is awesome.
Great.
Like, it isn't the Yen from the games. Like, I have to start separating me, because she just doesn't even look like the Yen from the games. Like, she has her own thing, and they're running with it, but God, is it a good actress. And you get the full history of Yen. Like, they're not just jumping into Yen as, like, powerful sorcerer. You get the full backstory of who Yen is, and her path to power. I think that's one of the other things that's a little weird, is the timelines as they're cutting to these different ones. Because I'm pretty sure, like, Yen's timeline is much earlier than, like, the Slayer of Braviken stuff. like it would make sense for it to be
Right.
where it starts. But they don't do a lot of stuff of telling you the different timelines going on, and like where's Ciri in comparison to like what Geralt's doing? Or is that happening at the same time in different parts of the world, or did Ciri stuff happen earlier? And I'm curious what that will, if it will.
And it's not clearly delineated.
No, it is not.
Yeah,
Just the way they
a little annoying.
cut through it. You're just like, I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm getting 3 distinct storylines, and eventually they're going to meet up. And that's when the story will kick off, and everyone's together. But the timelines to get there on each of their stories are probably very different.
So it'll take like the first 6 or 7 episodes to get there.
I think so. I don't know. I mean, spoilers for you. I mean, I'm 4 episodes in, and they're not together.
That would end it with a fucking bang, dude. And then you'd be waiting for like 2 years for the next one.
So I'm waiting for when all the main characters meet up.
Yeah.
They're taking their time. I'll give you that. And it's okay. Because that's where I'm saying they're giving a lot of strength to Ciri and Yen. Because you're learning about their characters through them, not how Geralt sees them.
Right.
Which the games is all through Geralt's viewpoint. So you only see these characters from Geralt's view. So that's where I find the show very interesting, because it's exploring Ciri and Yen in much deeper ways than the games ever have. I guess a little Witcher 3 where you got to play as Ciri.
Right.
A little bit, but not a ton. And I wonder if that's ever going to come. Like, man, that's not a lot of the Witcher 3 has nothing to do with the books.
No, it doesn't. I mean, there's, pieces like The Last Wish, actual short story, The Last Wish, is that complicated decision you make between Yen toward the end of this fucking side quest toward the end of Witcher 3. So like pieces throughout, like the side quests and things like that, they're like
they're pulling from some of the short stories.
Exactly, right. But the main through piece, I think, is set against the backdrop, like the political backdrop of the books, but a lot of the major set pieces are really, I think, their own creation.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
I don't think
definitely
Baron comes from the books, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to figure out that piecing together right now in the show the politics of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not very clear.
And I wonder if that's, and I agree with you, it's like the Nilfgaardians.
I'm like, sure.
And Redania, basically. I think it's
Yeah.
or Sintra. So Nilfgaardians just coming in, taking everything. That's kind of the backdrop of Witcher 3, where the Nilfgaardians are this not infesting force, but invading force. There we go. But it makes me think it's intentional, just that it's just so chaotic for the normal everyday person. Like, what the fuck is happening? Who are these people? Why are we all taking poison and killing ourselves?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Great.
That needs to. I assume that's gonna potentially, as the show goes on, we'll move more into that kingdom politics piece. Like, that will become more to the forefront. You'll just understand it more, because what the characters are dealing with deals a lot closer to it.
I wonder if that's true. I feel like that would make sense for this medium. Like, I think you have to make it make sense for the average viewer.
Yeah.
Or even just to give us more background. But like, the games don't really do that. You're doing your thing, and that's the background. It's almost slice of life. It's so fucking weird. And the books are the same. Although the books go into more detail, so maybe we'll get that pulled across to the show. It looks good. It sounds good. Like, it's. I was worried it was going to feel like a copy of, a pale imitation, I should say, of the game or the books, but it really does feel like its own.
It's its own thing.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking here on the Wikipedia for the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Each one is based on a different, short story.
Right. So this one was, I don't know if it was called The Butcher of Babakin, but basically the story where he, gets that nickname.
It's called The Lesser Evil, is the short story.
Episode. Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, The Lesser Evil is it's based on that short story, and the episode was The Inn's Beginning.
And I wonder that line from this PC Gamer article, it says, almost an anthology. We follow him from villages to castles as he takes on dirty jobs. Like, that's what the short stories are. Like, it's an anthology of just his different jobs he takes on.
And that's what Geralt's storyline so far in the show feels like, multiple episodes in, where Ciri and Yen's are more straight serialized storylines going. So it's just a matter of point when will Geralt intersect those storylines now.
And I feel like the Last Wish, that collection of short stories, is the same thing, where you start with Geralt, and he's already Geralt. He's already done his thing. We don't see him going through the mutations. When he comes into a job and does a thing and he meets somebody, he usually already knows that person. You don't get a lot of that background. It's just we're going. We already know these people. So
based on...
I enjoy that.
The Witcher. Yeah. Yeah, each of these episodes is like based on a specific short story.
That's smart.
Episode 5 is based on The Last Wish.
Oh, shit. That's that fucking side quest short story, or a side quest at the end of Witcher 3.
Yeah, so it's based on it. I'll be interested to see how that one works out, because that's the one I'm on right now.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how close that one is. So yeah, I think it's pretty good so far. I want to watch more. I'll probably watch another episode tonight.
Nice. You'll be done by the end of the week?
Yeah, probably by midweek, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with holidays coming up, but still, kids will go to bed and they'll watch an episode or two.
Right.
The set design is pretty amazing. Costumes are great.
Uh-huh. The choreography is great.
Yeah. I love that they're integrating the signs in really well.
Yeah.
That continues. He uses signs quite a bit.
He used art in that major fight, and I was like, oh shit, it wasn't dramatic. It was just like this force push, basically.
Yep.
That was really well done.
Yeah, and it's thrown in here and there throughout, like he's not...
He also used, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
He used, I can't remember which one it's called, but the one where you influence their mind.
Yep.
And then she was like, magic doesn't work on me.
Yeah. He uses that one at times. I've seen him use Ard. He does... I think Ard is the other one he was using at another point.
He use Igni?
I have not seen Igni yet. I wonder if they're saving that one. That wouldn't surprise me, honestly. If they're saving that so you can just light some people on fire during a big battle or something. Right. Yeah, I'm very excited. Yeah, I'm very excited to continue. It's a great adaptation of the books and the games. And I'm very curious now when you brought up that CD Projekt and Sapkowski had made up, basically.
They made up, they gave him money, and then it also included future stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, are we getting more stuff?
It's gotta mean there's future shit,
Come on, let's do it. Especially now with this show being out and, like, revitalizing popularity again in the game. So, right. I don't think I've said it on stream, while we're talking, but before we were talking, 50,000 people are playing The Witcher in the past 24 hours on Steam. Witcher 3. 50,000!
Yeah. Revitalize people's interest in this, 4-year-old game at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's in the top 20 most played games on Steam right now. Yeah. A game, how old is it?
2015, May of 2015.
Yeah, 4-year-old game. And, that's a good question, because it's the summer sale going on winter sale going on right now. Witcher 3 is top selling. Witcher 3 Game of the Year Edition on PC is the 3rd best-selling game on Steam right now.
Just CD Projekt's just like, thanks for making this fucking show, guys. Because we're gonna another year of profitability from fucking The Witcher 3, which means without a fucking doubt they're making 4.
You would think at some point it's gonna happen. I guess they'll see how Cyberpunk does. Maybe they'll give some more space before they do another Witcher. But who knows? Maybe they'll do 2 teams. One doing Cyberpunk continuations and one doing Witcher. It's really hard to say, but man, it does make me want to play Witcher 3 again, though.
Yeah,
I will say that.
Too.
I'm like, yeah.
If I wasn't so deep into Divinity Original Sin 2, I'd probably flop over to The Witcher, but no.
It makes sense. I mean, you have it on the Switch. It's right there. You can just do it.
Why don't we just pivot into what we've been playing? Fucking Divinity Original Sin 2 is a fucking masterpiece, and I'm 25 hours in, and I've just left Fort Joy, even though I'm still in the first area. I've gone to the swamps on the east side, and just there was some fight I was doing, and I didn't know that the culmination of this fight was at the end. You can find a secret entrance out the back of the room, which then gets you out of Fort Joy, and it's one of the myriad ways you can leave Fort Joy. But I lost the first few times, I barely lost, and I was super excited to start over. Like, I really wanted to, like, tweak my strategy and position my characters in different ways and use a different combination of spells. And just from every time I retry, I get better at playing the game. And it just really feels like a smart way to tutorialize how to play the game. It's just have this open area where you just, however you want to do it, just do it, and then just start getting better and better. I'm realizing that I've spec'd my main character wrong, because she's just kind of blah, whereas I have a clear tank, I have a clear rogue, and I have a clear ranged attack. And then my main character is kind of like partially spells, partially... I think she's a battle mage, and it just feels like muddied. So I'm hoping I can respec. But the writing, the characters, the way that you can kind of break the game, do whatever you want, is fucking awesome, man. It's so good. And having it on the Switch, like, I can just take, I with my kid a lot, so then every once in a while I'll get a little break, go to the coffee shop for an hour and a half, and just fire it up and just go. And if I didn't have it on Switch, I wouldn't be playing it. And it's seriously a masterpiece.
That's cool. I was looking up real quickly. There's a PSA. You can fully respec every aspect of you and your companions.
Oh, good.
At the start of Act 2.
Oh, good. Okay, so I just need to deal with it through Act 1.
Yeah, basically. I guess that Act 1 is where you can figure out what you want and what you've done wrong, and then you can be like, okay, let's fix my characters at this point.
Oh, that's fucking great. Because I feel like for 3 of them, I've really, like, tweaked it, nailed it, and 1 is just like, what the fuck is this amorphous blob? Who is a healer, but also a battle, like a fucking...
Yeah.
warrior, and also uses spells, and it's like, I need to fucking figure out what I'm doing here. It's just brings a smile to my face, man. It honestly feels, okay. So there's a through line for me in gaming. It went from Witcher 3 to Hollow Knight to this game. Just like the games that just bring, like lift me up, raise my heart, raise my gaming heart, like make me feel like so goddamn happy to fire up this game. So
that's cool.
That's all I've been playing. I have a couple other games. I mean, I have the fucking stack here still right next to my computer here of games I got during Black Friday, and I haven't touched a single fucking one, because this was another one I got on Black Friday, and I'm just all the fuck over it.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think you summed it up right on the fact of wanting... It is a game where even when you lose, you can think of better ways to do it.
Yeah.
And optimize, and you need to. Like, the game will reward you for smart thinking, and you will be punished for being lazy. Absolutely punished for being lazy. That's cool.
And I've been lazy on a few fights, and it's just like, that was dumb. I need to I'll even just restart. I'm like, okay, I know that in 6 moves I'm going to lose, so I'm just going to restart.
Yeah. I need to play more of it. Ugh.
Fucking great. Please. One day, get.
Oh, I will. I'm trying to think if I'd want to play it on the PS4 or if I'd want to do it on the PC.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would be happier to do it on the PC, honestly. I mean, you also have the Switch, though. The Switch seems great.
It's great. There's a couple of, not really slow down, but there's a couple of too many things on the screen, and it just like crashes. It's only happened once so far, but it seemed like it was going to happen a second time. It reversed itself. So, let's see. Maybe I'll check it out see how much it is on Steam. Maybe.
I think it's not.
It's $24.
Yeah, it's the sale, right?
Yep.
Yeah, maybe I'll pick it up there. That's a good place.
$25. Buy it for a 3rd time. It's like The Witcher.
Yeah. Who knows?
No.
Yeah, we'll figure it. I'll figure that out.
I see you, Brad, on here. I see that you want this game. You should get this game so we can all play together, because that'd be great. Although I know we've said that before about fucking Monster Hunter and whatever else, but I mean it this time. Right. It's so good. Let's do it. Anyway.
Have I been playing anything really this week other than, Astroneer a lot as I research that goddamn game? Because I'm working on crap for it.
Yeah, right.
I played a lot of it. But what else have I played? I put a few more hours actually on my commute when not reading into Stardew Valley again. They dropped the 1.4 patch, which had a ridiculous amount of patch notes.
So lots of changes?
Yeah. 0.4 notes. Full changelog. What was it? Added a movie theater unlocked in late game with related content and features. Added 14 heart events for every spouse. Added new events and dialogue for a bunch of different characters. Added clothing items. Adding clothing tailoring and dyeing. New hairstyles. Added a new map. Added fish ponds to breed and produce fish. New shirts, new hats, pants, boots. New floor options. 2 more secret notes, 2 new fish, new artifact troves, new crops, a new scythe, a jukebox, and fridges.
Lots of stuff.
I'm skipping a bunch of stuff here. New mine content. So there's a new mineshaft dungeon that you can get to.
Oh, wow.
Added shed upgrade, added cat dog breed selectable. What? Added hidden subplot if you've turned children into doves. What? I don't even know what the hell that means.
This is like the patch notes are becoming fucking poetry.
A little bit. Like, this is new music tracks, new divorced spouses no longer attend your wedding. Divorced spouses no longer treat their exes normally during festivals. So you can actually have a whole thing where you can divorce now.
Oh, wow. That's going to bring some sadness to the...
What in the world? So yeah, it was just a big drop like that, and I was like, fine, I'll start again. And I'll just... It's a great game to just play on the Switch on my commutes at times.
Right.
Like, it's super chill. So, just hang out and farm stuff. And I kind of couldn't believe it got so much content still this much later than it came out. And a bunch of multiplayer updates and changes. And I know it was the 1.4 update came to PC like a month ago, month and a half ago, and so this was the Switch one. They rolled it out to all the consoles this past
all the consoles
Tuesday.
at once, but the PC had it first.
Yeah, they did all their on the PC first, did a bunch of point patching to the PC version, and then once that was really stable, then they submitted that for cert to all the console publishers. So that was mostly what I've been playing on my off time. That, and then lots of Astroneer, which is also an incredibly chill game, but in space. So, you know, flying around
space.
Yeah, flying around space, but me playing Astroneer is a much different experience because I'm doing it for research a lot. Mm-hmm. Like late game Astroneer, like what can you do, what can't you do. Very nitpicky playing of that game. Which is cool, and I'm loving it, and I'm loving the thought of getting to add stuff to that game. What were they doing? They just did the day before I started. They launched a limited time of holiday event in the game where you can ship holiday package. You can find like holiday items on the worlds right now, and you can package them up and then send them up to space to get points to unlock some cosmetic items. But then the community pulls all their points together that they've sent up, and Systemera is donating to Extra Life charity.
That's cool.
For however much people are sending up. So it's a nice like charity drive as well. And that's one thing I will say about Astroneer and the whole thing is it's a very positive game pretty consistently.
That's really nice.
It wants to be joyous. It wants to be hopeful. It wants to be happy. And it tries to push that to players as much as it can. So, it's kind of nice to be surrounded by that kind of an atmosphere a lot. Nice change of pace to the real world. So, yeah, that's what I've been playing right now. I still have games I should be playing. I have, like, The Division 2 sitting there. Love to play that at some point.
I've got it right here next to my shoulder.
I know. PS4, right?
PS4, yep.
Well, at one point we should play that.
Maybe.
Because I also have it on PS4. And
let's do that during my break, which is from now until the end of January.
Okay. Well, I'm on break until I have to through the new January 1st. So I have to go. I'll be back at work on January 2nd.
So we should play tomorrow night or the next night.
Yeah, or any of the nights after Christmas. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to Humboldt.
Oh, are you?
I am. So around New Year's.
That should be a fun time. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be great for my daughter. She really likes it up there. Go figure. Dude.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
All right, then.
We're going for her. The things you do for kids, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, cool.
All right. Well, that was episode 223 of Prof and Dev Play Games. He is at SummerSpeak on Twitter. I am at Prof Plays Games. Next week, we are coming to you with our Games of the Year podcast, which will be an interesting one for me because I hit books hard and fell off of finishing video games this year. I'm back to my fucking ADD of games. thing to thing. But I have a nice little list, I think. So
hey, that's me too. So, that's me in my entire life with games.
I'm looking forward to hearing what's on your list. Yeah. And then, as always, the first episode in January, if we can swing it, will be the predictions for the year.
Oh, God.
And we'll go over last year's predictions, which I can't remember them, but I know they're all wrong. All wrong. Had to
awesome.
Wrong. So, all right, man. Well, thanks, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next week.
All right. Talk to you later, everyone.